Yo guys, what is going on? Blossom's back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. If I timed that correctly, I'm pretty sure that we just started with a defeat screen from clubs. Now, it's been a while since I've done a video like this. We got clubs playing on in the background. This is just a pre-recording that I've done that I'm just gonna have kind of as white images, I guess, if that's like the same term as white noise, like just background images. But a while ago, a couple of years ago, I think 2 to 3 years ago, there was a series on the channel, a very brief series, where I did Top Drives revamps, like ideas for car and brand revamps. And I did a highlight on Mercedes-Benz and I did a highlight on Mitsubishi. If you're interested to see what those videos were like, I'll have a description down below because I had a lot of fun making those. And I feel like it's time to bring it back. So this is a video that I've been looking forward for quite some time. And I think that now is a time to really talk about something like this, especially for this specific brand. You would know from the title, today's episode is about a Dodge revamp, baby. Looking forward to that. What could we, visualize if more Dodges were added to the game, and what could we expect if more Dodges were added to the game? So I'm really excited for this. There are a lot of rumors going around that the next update is going to be American. Of course, we have 250 photo changes that were all geared towards American cars, and I think if you've seen in the Top Drive sphere out there, some people who were updating their games got Top Drives icons of GM cars. Like I think it was a Hummer EV and the other one was a Chevrolet C10, I believe. So yeah, I mean, good times ahead, good times ahead. Now I know that a future American update might not be the best thing for every player, but that's a topic for another time. I've been suffering for the last couple of months. I absolutely hate it with every fiber of my being, Dakotas and the ENW update. So I'm really looking forward to going back to some American cars. So of course, obviously, I think a lot of people are thinking, GMC and Chevys are going to get revamps because of those leaked photos of the Top Drives icon. I'll show it to you here that, what's his name? Charlie Grenade. He showcased on his Instagram page. But without further ado, man, if there's ever going to be an American update, you know your boy, the Dodge God, he wants Dodges as well, And I have a very simple logic system. If Hutch is able to add 600 million WRXs, if Hutch is able to add 600 million 3 Series and Skoda Octavias, then they have no excuse not to add 600 million Chargers as well. You gotta please everybody. So without further ado, let's get into it. We're gonna start off with a very special car to me. Over here, Dodge Charger 500 Hemi. So we have the normal upgraded version, well actually the stock version. Not the normal upgraded, but the stock version, which is 137 top speed, 5.0 0 to 60, and 60 handling. And then we have the fully upgraded version, as you can see over here as well, 149 for a top speed, 4.0 for a 0 to 60, and 65 handling. I think the MRA on this car is going to be pretty good as well, as it is a 69 Charger with a souped up engine. Now, a little bit of a history on the Charger 500 Hemi, a car that I love very much. It came in 2 different trims, 425 horsepower and 375 horsepower. Now, I do believe that this rare version that we're seeing here is based upon the 375 horsepower engine, and I think the 425 horsepower engine might be somewhere along the Super Rare range, maybe like a high range Super Rare, because the MRI is going to be pretty good because the Charger 500 Hemi was an homage to the King, right? The Plymouth Superbird and the Dodge Daytona from NASCAR. So these cars are pretty damn powerful, and the 425 horsepower version has a way higher top speed. I believe it's somewhere along 165 or something like that, 162, 165. One other thing that makes the Charger 500 Hemi really cool is that they only made 392 of those cars, which is a homage to the Sky Pack 392 as well. But obviously the Sky Pack didn't exist back then, but it was an homage to their engines. But only 392 versions of the Charger 500 Hemi from 1969 was made. So it kind of makes me think that maybe this might be a prize car. The Charger 500 Hemi, in my opinion, definitely deserves to be a prize car. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but that is a car that I would definitely look forward to. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Cyanix, also known as Automotive Gaming Experience, but he's now known as Cyanix. He designed all these custom cards for me, and he will have an editor's choice alongside some of the cars that you'll see in this video. Moving on to more Dodges, and of course, I asked my community, so I asked the Patreon about a couple months ago. It's been a while actually since I popped the question. But a couple of months ago, I asked the guys in my Patreon Discord what Dodges you would like to see in a future update. And some of the ones that they mentioned, the first one over here is going to be the Dodge Zeo concept. Now, American Frontier was kind of notorious for bringing a lot of concept American cars. good news or bad news to some, there's still a lot more to go around. So the Dodge Zero concept from 2008, again, you know, we're kind of just gauging 84 handling, 5.70 to 60. It's kind of tough to even gauge what the stats of some of these cars, especially the handling, is going to be, because they never became production cars in the end. But if we're kind of copying and simulating what Hutch are kind of, you know, giving to these American concept cars, the Dodge Zero concept 84 might be a bit of a long, I don't know, I feel like that's a little bit too much, Cyanix, 84. Here's a fully upgraded version that Cyanix decided to put. The Dodge Zero concept 4.70 to 60, 93 handling. Again, I mean, that looks very good. I mean, if I remember correctly, the Circuit EV has some pretty similar stats. Let me look it up real quick, because I do have my iPad, and I got top drives as well in the background over here. So if I go into the base stats for the Circuit EV, 4.7 AT4 compared to the Zero Concept's 5.7 AT4, so 1 second difference between the two cars. But that'll be pretty interesting to see more of these into the game. So obviously with the fully upgraded version and the stock version in this two photos. Now moving on to a third model that I would definitely love to see, and it would add a little bit more life into the American high end, would be the Dodge SRT Viper GTSR prototype. Now, personally, if this car or any of the GT3 or GT4 versions of 5th gen Vipers came into the game, I would like the bulk of them to be non-price cars. And the main reason for that is because there aren't a lot of high-range American cars that you can unpack, especially those that handle especially well. The best American cars that you can get in the game right now is the Hennessy Venom, of course. And I think the best handling American car you can get in right now, I still believe, is the Dodge Viper ACR. Things like the GTSR and the ACRX are all prize cars, the SEG is all prize cars, so I would like to see more 5th gen Vipers, you know, GT4 race car versions or GT3 versions, I think it's GT3 not GT4, but more of those special versions be added to the game and not be prize cars. Think about McLaren, right? McLaren has the 720S GT3 or the 650S GT3, for example. All those GT3 McLarens with slick tires and amazing handling and MRA, they're all non-prize cars. So I'd like to see Dodge kind of bring the same value as well. So 3.296, I think the GTSR prototype would be a really phenomenal car. 2012 as well, so a 2010s car would be really nice, really cool to see. Basically, it's just a slightly better version of the GTSR from the 90s, right? I would assume that it has more tech. Traction control, ABS, maybe. But the 0 to 60 is about the same, 3.2 seconds. I believe that the 90s GTSR is also 3.2 seconds for 0 to 60. But it does handle a little bit better, 95 on the 90 version and 96 on the GTSR prototype. And I would assume that 97 on the actual race car would seem pretty accurate, because those Vipers definitely handle ridiculously well. So it'll be really nice to see some of these in the game as well. Now, moving on, here's another one that I'm really interested to see, an ultra rare, the Dodge Hearse Hemi Dart. Again, this is a very special car. I mean, nowadays, this car kind of goes for about 200 grand. It is a pretty expensive car. It came in two versions. One had a 426 horsepower Hemi, and the other one produced 572. This thing was ridiculous. It was the demon before the demon, because Dodge made this for the drag strip, as you can see with, you know, the tires and everything, but they also wanted to make it road legal. So remember how I told you that there were two different engines in the Hemi Dart? There was the 426 and the 572. The 572 was your drag spec, basically. Your 426 was your homologation model, almost. It came with air conditioning and all your creature comforts. And basically, Dodge wanted basically a car that you could take to the grocery store, but you could also take to the drags. Like I said, it's the olden day version of the demon. It was a demon before the demon, and I would love to see the Dodge Hearse Hemi Dart in the game. Here's a fully upgraded version. Once again, shouts out to Cyanix for making different versions of these custom cars as well. 135 for a top speed, which is low, but what really matters in this car is at 0 to 60 and the MRA, you know, how it gets there. So 3.2 for 0 to 60, and obviously no handling. This would be a really good dragster, and it would be a great shake up to the meta, basically. Like, it will basically blow out the Lancia out of the water, the Holden of Fiji, and even the BMW M5 on the drags. Well, that's the thing though. It will only be a specialist for quarter and half miles. When it comes to the 1 mile, maybe even half mile, cars like the Fiji might pull against the Hearse. But yeah, the Dodge Hearse Hemi Dart, man, like a quarter mile specialist, I will take that at any day of the week for the Ultra meta. Absolutely fantastic. Now, moving on to another Dodge that I'm really looking forward to adding. This is one of my favorites, to be honest. The Dodge Charger RT from 1970. You guys know that the 69 Charger is my favorite car of all time. I will take that to my grave. Nothing that in this universe, nothing any automotive company in this universe can make will ever make a car that I like more than a 1969 Charger. That will always be my favorite car. But what comes in as a close, I want to say second, third place, would be the Dodge Charger RT from 1970, which is literally the same thing, but without the split grille. So 145 for a top speed, 4.9 for a 0 to 60, 61 handling, very similar stats to the current Charger. And I'd love to see this in the game. Fully upgraded version, as you can see, there are two different versions. 3.9, 157 with 66 handling. So I want more Chargers. Right now, in terms of classic Chargers, American classic Chargers, we only have the 69, and I think that's heresy. The fact that we have more Australian Chargers than OG American Chargers is a travesty, in my opinion, okay? Like I said earlier on, if this game allows 3,000 versions of 3 Series, 3,000 versions of Octavias, I want to see every single variation of Charger in the game. The 1970, the 1972, the 1969 500, right? The 1966, the 1968 version. I want to see all of it. Now, talking about the 1968 and the 1966, I want to talk about this one right here, the Dodge Charger 383. Now, there is an error in this one, but again, Cynix isn't an American specialist, so I'm not going to put it up against him. But what I will mention is that the photo that we see here is a 68 Charger, but the name and the year is based off a different Charger from 66. I'll show you the photo of what the actual 66 Charger looks like. Very good looking, very sleek, very futuristic even for its time. 7.1 for a 0 to 60 and 59 handling, 124 for a top speed. So although the photo is wrong, the stats are correct. So age did hit it on the head with that one. But like I said, I want to see every single variation of Charger in the game, you know? Like this is for me, man. This is for me and for everyone that enjoys classic American muscle. Now, let's go on to some more modern day Dodges. Here's a Dodge Durango Citadel. Now, if you guys don't know what the Durango Citadel is, it's the trim level that sits in between the GT and the RT Hemi. Not even close to the Hellcat. This is basically like your middle range Durango, right? You start off with the Durango, then you have Durango, I think SXT. I'm not sure if they even made an SXT version of that, then the GT. And they made the Citadel. After the Citadel came the RT and the RT Hemi 500 Special Edition, and then it was the Scat Pack, I believe. Then it was the SRT Hellcat. So there are many variations of the Durango. The Citadel would be a pretty decent one for the Ultra ranks, because right now we have a Durango sitting in the super rare ranks, the rear wheel drive, and then we have a Durango sitting in the Epic ranks, and we also have a Durango, the Hellcat, sitting in the Legendary ranks. So having a Durango in the Ultra ranks would be pretty cool. The Citadel would be a pretty decent inclusion, and I love the photo that he chose with the Challenger drag pack, which is in the back. Unfortunately, I don't have a custom card photo of the drag pack, but that would be a fantastic legendary dragster to add into the game to rival the Copo Camaros. So basically, they'll never be prize cards. They'll just be there. They'll literally just be sitting there. But that's a really fantastic photo. I always love it when the color of the car always complements the color of the rarity. Now, I know it's getting a little bit dark because it's going to rain outside, so I'm going to turn the lights. I'll be back in a second. Okay, lights back on. Hope you can see me just a little bit better. Now let's talk about our editor's choice. Now, I am a Dodge person, I am a Dodge god, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I love every single Dodge. We're gonna talk about the dark Dodges for a little bit, okay? The ones where I don't really like. But it is the editor's choice, this was Age's choice, and it is indeed the Dodge Hornet RT. So 4-wheel drive center tires with 79 handling, I mean, I'm assuming that that's gonna have high ground clearance as well. That's going to be a really good car. And honestly, any electric car that Hutch adds to top drives is going to be a really good car, because they have basically the blueprint of what makes a bargain, right? RQ that's low enough because the top speed isn't high, but it handles well and they have low 0 to 60s, right? And the Hornet RT is no exception. It's going to be a great epic if this ends up being true. 87 handling when you max it out, 4-wheel drive and center tires, traction control, ABS. 0 to 60 is a little okay, top speed isn't there, but that doesn't really matter. So the Hornet RT would be one of those electric Dodges that they would add to the game, and the other one would be the Dodge Charger Daytona SRT. A legendary, yes. 83 RQ, 3.5 or 0 to 60. Yes, it is 4-wheel drive. Yes, Dodge has made a 4-wheel drive car. Oh god. 200 miles per hour for a top speed and 85 handling. Not a fan of these electric Dodges, to be honest, but it's fair to assume that if Dodge gets a revamp, we will be seeing them. So, yeah. Anyway, moving on to some brighter and more beautiful pastures. We're going to go back to some classic muscle over here. The Dodge Demon 340 GSS. That's a really nice one over here. Got a yellow version of this as a Hot Wheel. Kind of have it in my closet in the back. It's a really wonderful, beautiful car. 6.0 for 0 to 60, 61 handling. I just want to say shout out to Cyanix for taking out the stats for all of these. It's not easy to find stats for cars. Especially if you don't work for Hutch and you're not getting paid to do so. So I really commend the work that he's put into this. Please, as always, I will have a link to his Instagram and YouTube channel if I have the Instagram link. I think I should still have it in the description below as well. So that's a Demon 340 GSS. I would love to see this in the game. Now, I'm leaving the best for last. We're going to start with 2 more cars. The penultimate one right here, the Dodge Shelby Dakota. I believe that this was requested by Kevin, and I would love to see this in the game, to be honest. High or medium ground clearance, and it's just a really cool car. I just love pickup trucks from that era. Things like your Cyclone or GMC Typhoon, like those boxy 2-door sport pickup trucks. Love that. So the Shelby Dakota as well, would love to see that in the game. And last but not least, the final car that I do want to showcase to you today, my absolute favorite, leaving the best for last, right here, the Dodge Halfin Charger concept. Oh, would love this. If you guys don't know, this was shown, I believe, in 2021 SEMA in Las Vegas. And basically they put in a engine called the Elephant, which has 1,000 horsepower. Love it, love it, love it, dude. Freaking amazing. 2.7 for 0 to 60, 200 miles per hour for our top speed. But Mopar did say that it could go over 200 because they wanted to homage, again, the Plymouth Superbird and Richard Petty back in those NASCAR days. So 200 miles for a top speed seems alright, but I think it's able of hitting more than that. Around 203, I think they said, which it will hit, obviously, when you get some upgrades into it. No handling, doesn't matter, right? Like, the Elephant Charger concept would be a fantastic car to add to the game. It's also relatively light. It's got a really heavy engine, but the entire chassis of the car is made from carbon fiber. So I think the heaviest things about that car is going to be the engine and its brakes. But the Elephant Charger is absolutely phenomenal. I would love to see this in top drives. Obviously, that's going to be a prize car. And yeah, it's one of those cars where you can put any kind of wreck. As shitty as it's going to be, I will go and get that Charger. So kind of reminiscent of that Hennessy Venom F5 that came out last year in November. So would love to see that in the game. Seriously, really would. I really hope that it isn't. Well, actually, I don't know if I would prefer it to be a prize car or not a prize car. Because if it's not a prize car, there's a chance that a lot of people will get it before I get it and I'll just get really jealous. So a prize car would be pretty cool. Then I'll max it out after. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Once again, man, shout out to Cyanix for making these photos. What a phenomenal job that he did. Anyway, I'm super excited for whatever the next update is going to be. If all those teasers and leaks that we've seen are going to be true, I'm going to have a great couple of great season, basically. Like an entire world season, about 3 months probably until the next update comes around. So anyway, guys, I hope that's a fantastic video. I hope this was a fantastic idea. If you want to see more brands in the future, let me know. I might even do a Mercedes-Benz Revamp Part 2 because the last one was released years ago. Any more brands you want to see of revamps, let me know down in the comments below. I know Honda is going to be one of those where it also needs revamps. Chevrolet as well. I think I did a Chevrolet video on this series actually. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. I'm going to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace!
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the relax in my Bonneville. Pontiac, hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville.
Atlantic,
blonde hair